So, welcome back again on Bodhicharyavatara. Now we are in chapter number 9, and chapter number 9 is on wisdom, and as we already described, wisdom is the most important thing in order to eliminate the cause or causes of our suffering, because the main cause of the samsaric state of mind is ignorance, unclear or confused way of seeing. So therefore, wisdom is to clear that confusion, or completely understanding and experiencing the way things really are, the way I really am. So therefore, that is the ultimate cause for liberation from samsara, and the ultimate cause of enlightenment, and therefore the ultimate cause for the end of suffering. So therefore, all other methods, all other trainings that's been taught are also to actually get to that, to develop and to cultivate wisdom at the end. Now, what is that wisdom? We already told how important it is to generate wisdom. Now, what is that wisdom? Now, here the wisdom, I think we already said, there are two kinds of wisdoms. One is to know about everything, to have information, to know all different details of everything. And another is to know the nature of everything. When we talk about the cause of samsaric state of mind, it's mainly the knowing the nature of everything. So therefore, now we mainly deal with this knowing the nature of everything. Now here it is stated in the second stanza, relative and ultimate, these the two truths are declared to be. The ultimate is not within the reach of intellect, for intellect is said to be the relative. So first we go through this. The first two lines. The relative truth and ultimate truth. If you look at all the phenomena, or all that we experience from Buddhist point of view, we can categorize this into two truths or two realities. The ultimate truth and the relative truth. Relative truth is things that appear, everything that appears. Ultimate truth is the way things really are, where things ultimately are. Now, relative truth is, anything that we see, anything that we hear, anything that, all the things that happens, that is a truth, that's there. There is a truth. And the way we experience all the things, we experience is also, is also a reality to some extent, because that's how we experience, but then, is it truly the way it is? The things that we experience, or things that anybody experiences, things that arises, or is it the way things, the way we experience, is it really the way things actually are? Most of the time it's not, because the way we experience is our way of experiencing, due to many different causes and conditions which are very relatively there, which is not ultimately there. So therefore, this is called the relative truth. It's a relative truth because somebody, a fully, enlightened being, who completely, are able to see things as they really are, then it's not like that. They don't see it like that. They see it in a different way. So therefore, it's only relative. The way, a fully enlightened being sees things, the way how they really exist, how things really exist, is the ultimate truth. So therefore, these two truths. It's important to know these two truths, because if you don't know, then we can't understand how things are. So therefore, and these two truths are not two things. It's two ways of, you can say, seeing. Because how all of us, samsaric beings, or how things appear, is relatively true, relatively there, but it's not, it's not same as the way things really are. The things really are is that they are totally, relatively true only. So therefore, these two truths are not totally two things, but the way of saying it. So therefore, these next two lines, the ultimate truth is not the object of intellect, because intellect is relative. So anything that we we see or understand intellectually or conceptually, that is relative. because that's a relative, because it's making a concept. This like this not like this is good, this is bad, this I like, this I don't like, all this kind of intellectual, conceptual, anything that we designate when we conceive, that's just true at a relative level. The ultimate way things are is a little bit beyond that, so therefore the ultimate truth is something beyond that, so therefore, when somebody can experience the way things really are, that is not exactly the way we perceive, because that goes beyond any kind of concept. That is, that we very clearly, understand that all that we see, all that we conceive, all that we is only very relative, relatively and dependently true. There is nothing totally true or totally real or totally, independently existing on its own. So therefore, it goes a little bit different or beyond our usual way of conceptual or intellectual understanding. Therefore, it says, which is in light of these, within the world, two kinds of people are observed: those with yogic insight and the common run of people. Therefore, this, the ultimate truth or the ultimate reality is the one that, people who have yogic insight or who have the capacity to experience the ultimate truth, ultimate nature of things, the way they experience themselves, or they experience the whole world. That's the ultimate reality. And then the rest of us, who experience things the way we experience, is the relative truth. So in the light of this, within the world, two kinds of people are observed: those with yogic insight and the common run of people. In this regard, the view of ordinary folk are undermined by yogis who themselves are in the world. Within those ranks, the lower in degrees in insight are contributed by the higher, by means of the examples that the yogis and the worldly both accept, and for the sake of the result, analysis is left aside. So, therefore, tela jiten phalba nanjur jiten chine, nanjur payo bochi chi koma nam chine. The ordinary samsaric beings, the way they experience, the way they see, is is seen as faulty, as wrong by people who have yogic experience, or who have yogic here. It doesn't mean yoga exercise. It means that who have deeper or higher level of ultimate truth, higher experience of ultimate reality. And there also, there are different levels of insight, different levels of people who have, deeper and deeper experience or understanding of the true nature of things and the ultimate nature. So, when you progress in this, then the lower kind of level of experienced teachers or beings, or more kind of is found kind of not totally wrong maybe, but can become clearer and clearer as they advance. So that's now, how do we know this? Because we can understand it. For instance, that we know that a dream, for instance, or something that's created by illusion or magic, and that everybody knows that that's not totally true. It's not true. There's nothing truly existing like that. But sometimes when we are in that situation, we are in the dream, we see that the dream is real. When we are dreaming, we know that the dream, or we think that the dream is real. And so therefore we act with lots of aversion and attachment, and we are attached to things, we have aversion to things, we get sad, we get angry, we get happy, and according to the dream, we completely strongly act and react as it appears. But when we wake up, then we know that none of these were true. It was totally uselessly act and react in this way. But while we are in that dream, we don't realize this. So therefore, what we dream, that in that dream, that was, that was there, that was, relatively true, but it is not ultimately true. And this we know very well, even when we are not enlightened, we know this. So in the same way, the life that we are living now, the experience that we have now, is actually only relatively true. If we look a little bit deeper, if we have a little bit more, even in a kind of intellectual, if we analyze a little bit deeply, we could understand that the way we see things is not completely, existing on its own, because everything is changing, everything is, nothing remains the same, everything, it's made of so many different elements, and when you look deeply, there is nothing that is existing on its own. But we emotionally and experientially cannot understand this. But if we have more insight and more, yogic, you can say, more meditation, more true insight, then we can understand and experience this also the way, same way as if we really, in our dream, if we can truly understand it is a dream, then we don't need to react the way we react in the dream, So therefore, you can understand, you can experience. So this is the, very important to understand that these two levels, or not necessarily two, but generally speaking, relative truth and the ultimate truth, these two truths, or these two realities are there that everybody can. It's not totally two things, but we can, for the sake of understanding, we can categorize the true nature, the reality of our experience into these two categories. So this is, I think we stop here.